Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a really cool knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Benchmade 9400 automatic. It is essentially a 940 that is a switchblade. So for anybody who doesn't know, my opinion on the 940 is it's an excellent knife. It's still one of the greatest EDC folding knife designs that's ever been, but I've been bored with it. I've owned it 3 different times. I've owned the different variants, right? And yeah, okay, I'm moving on. This thing really pushed some light back into, pushed some life back into it. When I unboxed it, I thought, wow, this is cool. I've been playing with this for a little bit, and I'm actually really impressed by it. We're going to talk about it. There'll be links for this knife, all the different 940 variants that you can get down in the description, as well as this new automatic one and Benchmade knives in general, so you can check them out. This knife was sent to me by @triple_E_Insta on Instagram. Please give him a follow. It's because of people like him that I'm able to bring you guys daily knife content. It's also because of my generous patrons. Thanks so much for supporting me right now. If you'd like to get your hands on some of these cool stickers and some other benefits, there's of course a link down in the description. And as always, please follow me on Instagram. Okay, let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. It is, to my knowledge, it is exactly the same as the 940, which is about 7.8 inches overall. Blade length coming in at 3.5, cutting edge coming in at 3.4 inches. Let's go ahead and get some size comparisons real quick. Up against the Ontario Rat Model 1. Rat 1, still a bigger knife, coming in at 8.6 inches overall. You can see there the 9400 and 940 in general. It's not a small knife, it's just a slender knife. So still a full-size knife in my book. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? Spyderco PM2 is coming in at 8.3 inches overall. How about up against the Benchmade Reptilian, or in this case the Ritter Hogue, which is over here today, okay? Ritter Hogue coming in at 8 inches overall, so just a little bit longer than the 940. It's also a good size comparison for 940 versus Benchmade Reptilian. I keep calling this a 940, it's a 9400. Last but not least, the Spyderco Para 3. Spyderco Para 3 is coming in at 7.25 inches overall. How's the action on this guy? Guys, the 9400 is an automatic knife that I never knew that I wanted. I mean, seriously, an automatic 940 is a great idea, and it never occurred to me to, essentially have an automatic version of this knife, but for whatever reason, it's very satisfying to deploy this 9400. The action and power is very similar to what I feel with ProTech. You can see there it is actually creating some recoil on my hand. I'm very impressed with the power. I'm very impressed with how they have the button, which is recessed but raised just enough that it's nice to push. It's in a great location. The amount of traction or grip that I have on the knife when I fire it is just wonderful, and I think it's just maybe the novelty of an automatic 940. I don't know. It really kind of breathed life back into this model for me, and I like it. It's a good, solid quality action. On top of that, I don't have any blade play in this guy. And how are we looking on the centering? It's just a hair off, but I've been playing with this quite a bit, and I'm curious to see if I can actually bring that back to center by using my tools here. So I guess we'll kind of move into, the action is good. The action is excellent. I have no problem with the excellent. Let's go ahead and move into the hardware check. These are my tools. You can get them down in the description. They are not expensive. Are we looking at a T10? Yeah, let's give it just a little bit of a crank there. Are we pulling it back? Are we? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's all it was. Okay, no big deal. It was me. As far as I know, this knife was sent to me brand new, so that's just something that happens sometimes. Whoops, did I turn the lock on? Huh. Well, hold on a sec. Maybe I give it a little bit, maybe I over-tightened it. That's something that can happen with a knife that has really high tolerances, or really tight tolerances. Let's keep it in there and see if we can still keep it on center. Is it there? Maybe ever so slightly off, but it is very close. There we go. Yeah. Okay, no issues there. Sometimes it's nice to show that kind of stuff on camera, but yeah, I don't have an issue with that. T8 on the pivot, and the screws on the body are going to be T6. You guys know my thoughts on T6. I don't like T6, but it's never a deal breaker. Just be really careful when you're disassembling the knife because the bit heads or the fasteners themselves can strip sometimes. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. Everybody kind of knows about the 940 and why it's famous. The 9400 is not going to be any different. It's a little bit thinner than the Para 3 as far as overall length and height goes, up against two knives that are definitely awkward in the pocket, the Para 3 and PM2. You can see there it's a little bit longer, I think, than the Para 3 in terms of length. Not quite as long as the PM2, in fact, nowhere near as long as the PM2. And in terms of height, it's an absolute winner. Nowhere near as tall. This is not an object that's difficult to carry. We've got 6061 T6 aluminum. We have a titanium backspacer, which I always thought was funny on this thing. It's kind of weird and not something that Benchmade normally does. And then we have 113 thousandths, probably more like 115 thousandths on the spine of the blade. Weight on this guy, there's just not a lot of material here, not a lot of density and thickness, you know. 2.68 ounces, yeah, this is a winner. It doesn't really matter how you cut it. Pun. Oh my god, it was lame. In fact, I've used that joke before. That was stupid. Anyways, yeah, it doesn't really matter. If you like to wear athletic shorts, if you like to wear skinny jeans, if you like to wear regular pants, it doesn't really matter. This is an easy knife to carry. The automatic version is no different than the standard 940. It's an easy knife to carry. All right, have we gotten through all that? Let's go ahead and talk about the anatomy of this guy. Unfortunately, we still have this weird green color, which is, you know, when I remember the first 940s that were in 154 cm, and they actually came in a different hue. It was much more olivey. It's much more OD green on the originals. The newer hue's better, but let me say this. This is a good knife. This is going to be a positive review. Benchmade, why did you make the first run of this in green and purple? I understand, like, it's kind of a heritage of the 940 thing and, like, drawing people to it immediately, but why wouldn't you? I mean, okay, if we're going to go that route, or we're going to have one that's the exact same color as the 940, why wouldn't you have one that's this color and then another one that's what a lot of people would be drawn to in an automatic or just in the 940 design anyway? And I'm saying that because your carbon fiber variant and your 940-2 are, in my opinion, better knives and more popular, and they are black or variants of black. Make one with black aluminum and a silver backspacer or a black backspacer, you know, and blacken with a satin blade or blacken with a black blade. That's why. Why do we have, like, this is so weird. It's fine for people who like this color setup, but that would have really gone a long ways. And I'm not saying they're not going to do that, right? If you're watching this video a year in the future or a few months in the future, whenever, and they have a black one, I'm sure that they will do that. In fact, they would be ridiculous not to do that. But, like, if we're going to, you know, this is what they've got here is cool. It's good. So release it in a couple of different forms. I didn't understand that. I was like, why this would be so much cooler in a different color. That's my thought on that. Sorry. But as far as the scales go, same as the 940. They're well done. They're nicely knocked down. It's nothing different here. We have the same pattern on the handle. The design is ergonomic. It's fine. This pocket clip is not my favorite for many reasons, but this is one of those 3-hole clips, and you can switch it out with a much better option from Benchmade if you want to, and they will send you those clips. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the blade. We have satin finish on the flats. We have a tumbled finish down here on the main drop to the cutting edge, and then tumbled up on the swedge. It's a Benchmade blade, right? It looks like the cutting edge is even on both sides. We have that, you know, kind of interesting thickness out to the tip that is associated with this reverse Tanto blade. Everybody knows about this blade. It's a good EDC blade. It's not an absolute laser beam, but it'll definitely do the job. And honestly, some of the easy, you know, from what I remember, my memory of carrying this guy and EDCing it, which I did for probably 3 or 4 months before I started the channel. Yeah, it's an excellent blade shape for a million different things. It's going to do what you need it to do. It's long enough to cut into things that are dense, or through fruit, something that's, you know, requires a little bit more blade, but it's lightweight enough that it's just justifiable. The nice thing is now you can enjoy it with a you know, an automatic feature. And you know, the downside to an automatic is that it does take an extra movement. You really have to be sure that you're holding on to it because that blade wants to fly back out. This is a, you know, something that I test on automatic knives is that, you know, the blade will essentially come back to its close. Now, if you let go of the button, it's not going to do that, but that's the same thing on a ProTech. If an automatic knife is good, if the spring is strong enough, I can essentially hold that button down and it'll throw itself, even not, you know, not all the way from down here, which has got momentum at its back, but this spring is wanting to throw the blade back into position no matter what, so that's nice. I like that a lot. It does have a safety, makes it to where you can't throw the blade, and does the safety work in the lockout position? Yeah, it does. So you can lock it in the out position if you want to. That's cool. Titanium backspacer, the thing is weird. Different colors would have been great. Phallic pocket clip, come on Benchmade, that's a weird pocket clip. They call it the split arrow clip. Barf. The regular Benchmade clip or the deep carry clip or the short deep carry clip are substantially better, and all of them should fit on this. I would advise you switch to one of those. Functionally, this thing is fine, but that's weird. The clip in this, you know, the deep carry clip's going to carry deeper, but there's not a lot of knives sticking up out of the pocket with this clip style like this, so that's okay. The reverse side of the pivot is different, to my knowledge, from the original, and so is the front side. But it looks nice. It's kind of got this black oxide look to it. That's fine. These are still an S30V. There's nothing wrong with S30V. S30V is a well-rounded steel. It was made for pocket knives. It is still considered by many to be a super steel or a premium steel. But regardless of the composition and what it yields, the knife world does what it does. We evolve, things become old, and new things take their place, and we expect different steels and different price ranges, whatever. S30V is fine. Let's compare this to ProTech, because this is an American automatic, and the biggest competition for this knife is going to be most of what ProTech offers. The truth is that I'm seeing every bit as much quality in this knife as I am with ProTech side openers. For anybody who doesn't know, I say this regularly on the channel, ProTech absolutely makes the best side opening automatic knives in the world, and they are US made, which is great. I'm from the United States, so I'm going to support that. They also have far and away the widest collection, like the widest selection. This knife is made just as well, and it checks all those little things that I look for. ProTech traditionally uses 154cm or CPM 154, and they generally charge somewhere between $180 to about $250 for their models, depending on what they are. But what we see is largely 6061 T6 aluminum, their quality build, and then that steel. Now, every now and then I hear somebody complain about that, but not very much. And I honestly don't complain about it much, because 154cm/CPM 154 are two of my favorite steels of all time. In fact, that is my favorite composition for use. S30V, it's right around the same mark. A lot of people like it. A lot of people still call it, you know, their best steel. Now, the problem is with Benchmade is people complain about their pricing. They don't like it. They get upset that Benchmade seems to be charging more and more and more for their models. I think there's something extra here. I think the automatic features probably a little bit more that goes into it. In fact, there definitely is, you know, but so I can understand some people complaining about the price on this, which is about $225 to $230. I think it's $230. I can understand some people getting a little bit bent out of shape by that. This would have been substantially better accepted if Benchmade had chosen to go with black and a 20 CV blade. I don't know what Benchmade's deal is with starting at, you know, like maybe it's because they want to bring the 20 CV one down the road and then charge us way too much for it. Just come out of the gate with 20 CV and black aluminum in a green, you know, give them an option for green 20 CV or black and 20 CV, and that $230 price tag wouldn't sting as much. I think it seems like ProTech is moving a bit towards 20 CV, and I say that because I've got one of their button locks right here, the Malibu, in aluminum and 20 CV. This thing comes in at about $200, and it was very well accepted. Having an option for an automatic 940 or the 9400 with black and 20 CV, and then charging me around 225 bucks for it, I would have been totally okay with that. 230 and S30V, there's nothing wrong with that, but the vast majority of the knife community is just going to go, Benchmade, overcharging as usual. You know, the difference in like how much value 20 CV adds to your knife over S30V is marginal, if not, you know, if non-existent entirely. It's just how people perceive it, right? So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Is this a bad price for this knife? No, it's not a bad price, but I mean, like, had they come out with this and said 200 bucks, I'd be like, okay, you know, my internal sense of value, which is my own and totally unique. You know, I'm still just a guy talking into a camera about knives to people on the internet, but this is good. Can I recommend this knife? Yeah, it's solid. It locks up just fine. There's no play in the closed position. It's centered after after messing with it for a sec. The grind is done well. It's snappy, you know, it's easy to carry. Yeah, this is a good, you know, for somebody who can't find exactly what they're looking for in that ProTech automatic knife. If you are looking for an automatic knife, if they're legal where you live, that's another big thing I should have brought up at the beginning. This is not going to be legal for everybody. If it's legal for where you live, you're looking for a lightweight automatic cutting tool that's got a great blade to overall length ratio and overall weight ratio, right? And you can't quite find what you're looking for in a ProTech model, but you're looking to spend around this price point. Yeah, this is totally worth going after. This is one of the, you know, one of few Benchmades that I actually really like right now. It's nice to see them breathe life back into this model by adding an automatic feature. A lot of people are going to say, it'd be nice if they just came out with a new model. Benchmade comes out with plenty of new models. They're always trying to come out with new things. You know, so it's kind of neat to see them do this. Come out with a 20 CV model in black and I'll buy one. Anybody else, if you're interested in picking this up, is it a good knife? Is it you know, something that's worth the money? It's definitely a good knife. It's a hair over what I'd like it to see, but it's still worth picking up. This is definitely going to go in my most recommended knives playlist, and it's also going to go in my Benchmade knives playlist. So if you like Benchmade knives, check out that playlist. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it today. I think that's really all that I can say. Follow me on Instagram. And also thanks again to @triple_E_Insta for letting me take a look at this guy. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.